Hi moms out there. We're winding down on 2011 and getting ready for 2012. And throughout my year in 2011, let me tell you, I have talked to so many moms who are ready to pull their hair out, who are overworked, overstressed, reaching far enough, that they feel that they don't have a support system or some sort of trampoline underneath, if you will, if they fall. And I wanted to kind of create this really quick video just to give you some ideas on what you can do this year in the year 2012, like starting today, December, in 2011, and really getting the gears going. So if you're a mom who is really at that limit, that you don't really know how much more time you can put out there, how much more energy and volunteerism you can put out there, how you can survive. A lot of us have this mommy guilt if we're working long hours during the day and we don't spend enough time with our kids. So what I wanted to do was give you some short little tips on how you can restore the sanity in your home for 2012 and allow yourself to breathe and the rest of the home to breathe. So bear with me, write these down or download this recording and make sure that you look at these and really follow these step by step, because let me tell you, many of my clients have been amazed at just one little change that they make in their home that I give them. They are amazed at the way they feel and the way their kids behave and act. So here we go. Let's get 2012 under our belt, get wrap a bow around it, tie it tight, and let's get going. The first thing is setting goals. As we know, as people, as adults, adults and moms and dads, grandmothers and grandpas, some of you are out there too. What we have seen is once we have a direction, once we know where we're going, we know what the end line looks like, the finish line, if you will, we are more apt to make better choices in our lives. And we know the direction we go. So if we're off kilter, that we know how to get back to it. And so you as a parent will become the leadership coach for your kids. You will teach your kids how to be young leaders in our future. So setting goals, and it's not just setting goals for yourself. And, please, parents, do not set goals for your children. You walk your children through some ideas of goals, but they have ideas of what they want to do in their lives. My child at 4 saw a movie, The Secretariat, the other night. I'm not sure why, but she saw The Secretariat the other night. And she looked at my husband and said, "Daddy, I want to ride horses. I want to ride horses when I get older." And it's a little bit different than my 7-year-old who at 3 and 4 said she wanted to be a cowgirl. It was something that she saw that she said, this is what I want to do. Well, there's other ways, there's all sorts of ways that you can deal with this and that you can handle this. As a parent of a 4-year-old, you could say, oh, whatever, there's no money in that. You don't want to be a horse rider, which I know it sounds awful, but a lot of parents do that. And it really squashes the dream ability of your kids, because your children have been born with this deep down passion and desire that they were built for. Like, our nation needs them to excel in whatever it is. Maybe my child will be a horse whisperer. I do not know. But we give them the tools. So another response is, that's great. Let's look at what it would take to be a horse rider and all the different things you can do in your life to be a horse rider. And maybe this summer we can go to one of the local stables and start learning how to groom ponies and get on a pony and see if you really like it. And I know sometimes families aren't around, horse neighborhoods, but that might be, again, another option to say, well, let's go take a trip sometime over the summer and go visit a town nearby us, right? It doesn't have to be an expensive place, but a dude ranch or somewhere nearby you that has horse riding or the ability for the kids to touch horses. They have found, I can't remember the name, when I was teaching in high school, there was a girl who did a research paper. We had a big senior project where they wrote a 10-page paper and they did a presentation on it and they did an internship. And this one I think it was called hypnotherapy. No, that's not it. But anyway, she wrote about how people use horses to work with children that have disabilities, and how that really helps bond them to something, and they really learn certain abilities and behaviors throughout their time with working with these horses. So anyway, there's so many great things to be and do with horses that I would never want to squash my 4-year-old's dream to be a horse rider. You know, my 7-year-old says that she wants to be a singer, and she actually invited her friend's mom to her concert when she gets older. And that's great. What can we do? What is it going to take to be a singer? You know, and you teach them the diligence that they need. You teach them the industriousness that it's going to be. And all of this is taught through this idea of setting goals. So you set goals as a mom or a dad. You set them as a wife or a husband. You set them as a friend in your relationships. What types of relationships do you want to be around in 2012? And which ones, although it may break your heart, do you need to just kind of step away from? But these are choices that you can make, and you setting your own goals, your children will see you thriving in the year 2012. And because of the decisions they make, because maybe one of your children are struggling with friends too. And if they see us as parents hanging around friends that we talk about later, that we don't really appreciate too much, yet we still hang around them, then our children will learn that same behavior. So maybe you step away from a friendship, and then your child will too. The next thing is, outside of setting these goals, you want to check in like 4 times a year. Like, how is it going? You said you wanted to do better in your math grades this year. So how is it going, and what can I do to support you? So 4 times a year, quarterly, you check in with those goals, and maybe you tell your children, depending on their age, these are my goals and these are the things that I'm struggling with. The more you allow your children to see how you work through situations, the better off your children will be in the future, and the less struggle you'll go through as a parent. So this is very, very important for the year 2012. The next one is setting expectations. What do you expect from yourself? What do you expect from your spouse? If you're a single mother or father, just what do you expect with the people that come around your children? What do you expect from your children? And then what do your children expect from themselves? But if we talk about our expectations, then that's the language we can use when we're disciplining our children, or when we are guiding them to a better decision, right? We never want to make the decision for our children because they don't understand how you arrived at that, or they may resent you for that decision. So we want to just kind of guide them toward a decision. Any decision is a great decision, because if it's a decision that failed at the end, they will learn from that failure. They will learn, here are the steps that I took, because you're going to talk to them about it. Here are the steps that I took. These are the paths we went through, and this is the outcome of that. So if I want to change the outcome the next time I make a decision, we need to change the way we respond to that event, or the onset of the decision-making process. So setting those expectations very clearly helps you really set down the foundation for your family. So you've set your goals, right? Your family goals. Like everyone always talks about corporate goals. You need to set family goals too. In our family, like for my family, in our family, we're industrious. In our family, we are respectful. In our family, we are honest with each other. And so when something happens, we don't say, hey, did you just lie to me, or was that a lie? Because lie is a negative connotation, and they don't want to associate me lie, right? So they don't want to associate the fact that they are liars. You want them to associate with being honest. And when they know they're not honest, then they can say, you know what, that really wasn't honest. Or, you know what, I thought it was the right comment or whatever, but now I know that it wasn't the best or most honest answer. Your children will start talking about it. And like I said, I do this for my 4-year-old and my 7-year-old. And my 7-year-old at age 5 was already talking about this word of respect, the word of responsibility, the word of being honest and trustworthy. And she uses those words with her friends. So those are the top 3. The next one is actually looking at what are the roles, because children want to really hold on to what they are to do in the house. And when they feel that they have some sort of responsibility in the house, even if it's, I wash the mirrors in the bathrooms every Saturday morning, they know that that's their role. Or I pick up the dishes from the table, from the dinner table. My sister or my brother puts them on the table, I pick them up. Again, depending on their age, they can have a lot more of a role. And have the discussions about those roles, right? And let them know, what is my role as a mother? What is my husband's role as a father? What are my 2 children's roles? What are the grandparents' roles when they come to visit? If they know what to expect, we reduce anxiety. And my big issue with this is, if we reduce anxiety, if we reduce the depression because they don't know where they fit in, the biggest problem with kids is that they don't feel accepted, they don't feel like they fit in, they don't feel respected, they don't feel listened to, and they don't feel loved. Can you imagine trying to go through these growing pains when you don't feel these things? We want them to know that they have some responsibility and some roles in our lives. And we want them to know how respected they are in our household because they have followed the roles. And the next one, which is the 5th one, is the routines. If we have strict routines, right? And when I talked about anxiety, when I talk about the depression, if they have routines and they reduce all that stuff, they are least likely to be bullied. They are least likely to allow any abuse, substance abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, mental abuse. They are not going to allow that in their world because you've set number 1, which is they have a goal and they know what they want and what they don't want. So they set their goals and they move forward. And number 2 is you adjust for them. So every 3 months, you are now checking in to see, what can I do to help you reach your goal? And they are reminded of that goal. And that, following 1 and 2 then takes them further in the direction that they want to go in their lives and further away from the negativity and the bad relationships and the bad communication, right? And then following that with the 3rd one, which is the expectations, you're now setting a foundation for your children to be strong. I want to say ruthless was in my head, but ruthless leaders. And ruthless being a good thing, like they are determined to lead wherever they are. They want to be leaders. They want to take charge. And if they don't take charge, they've learned to follow because you've given them good leadership background, and a good leader is a great follower. So if you follow those 5 things, the 5 things, then the 6th one, when we talk about discipline, is very simple. Because you don't discipline them on what they did, right? So kids feel disciplined if they didn't score a goal in soccer or hockey, right? Because nobody says anything. And then they score a goal in the game and they go, yeah, you scored a goal. Well, they think that scoring the goal is the good thing and not scoring the goal is the bad thing, when no one's walking them through the process of the game. So you as a parent, if you set the goal, let's say a goal for the game, and then you set the expectations and their roles and the routines of the game, and then you talk to them and you communicate with them about those things, right? It was great. You really got into position. You found the empty space and you moved into that empty space, which allowed your teammates to make great passes to you, which then allowed you to XYZ or whatever. You talked to them about the process of the game, which is their behaviors of the game. And then the discipline becomes almost obsolete. Because all you're doing is saying, you know what? We got to get you back down to where our family goals are. And our family goals are not moving off and not following the being honest, being trustworthy, being, responsible, and being respectful. And that's it. It's very simple. I really want all of our families to thrive in 2012. And when we set our goals for our lives, and you have New Year's resolutions, set those in your goals. And if your New Year's resolution is to lose 20 pounds, how is that going to happen, and how are you going to set it all into play? And if you want to know more, please just visit my website. It's www.helpmytweensucceed.com. My name is Lori Ketkar, and I just wish you the best for 2012. And please, whatever you do, your children are our future. And we've learned so many times lately that so many kids out there are saying, I made these bad decisions, right? I decided, right? The barefoot bandit said, I decided to make these decisions because my growing up period was so dysfunctional. So let's reduce the dysfunction, and let's build and thrive on young kids that are going to take over this world and take over this world in a very positive light. Happy New Year.